Healing Horizons with Saima. Tonight we are joined by again our wonderful guest, David Hunter, the founder of Global Phytoplankton, whose life's work has been uncovering the incredible gifts of the ocean's tiniest plants. Nearly 20 years ago, David stumbled upon the transformative potential of phytoplankton, microscopic organisms that not only generate much of the world's oxygen, but also serve as the first and purest source of cellular nutrition. His journey opens a horizon where human wellness and planetary sustainability meet. So, David, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here. I'm excited to talk about phytoplankton.
You're warmly welcome, David. So, like phytoplankton are often called the foundation of life in the ocean. So, can you share that? How do you connect their ecological role with the impact on human vitality?
Well, I guess you know what? It's I think like through history, plants have had a huge role in human health. You know, if you look at the supplement industry in general, right? Like it's always a root. And I'll just look at whether, you look at ancient healing medicines, they were all natural ingredients that you would get from the earth. In the current modern day supplement era, it's always, a root of this. It could be the skin of a fruit. It could be a fruit itself. It could be something, the leaf of the plant or something. There's always seems to be a relationship with human health and health in general and plant life. I think that is a pretty safe conclusion, right? And so, they can play a role as well. I mean, and there's also, things like poison ivy and stuff like that too. But like for the general thing, like they were gifts that were left here for us. There's a lot of medicinal qualities to a lot of these plants. The first plant like to be born like in on the planet is phytoplankton, and it's a plant that a lot of people don't know about, even though ironically it's the most abundant plant life on the planet. And like you had said in the beginning, in your introduction, they produce the majority of the oxygen that we breathe. I stumbled upon phytoplankton in 2005 accidentally when we were originally cultivating and growing phytoplankton for food for shellfish. And, it was, I saw such transformative impacts on people's health. And it just, and then you kind of tie it all in together, that phytoplankton being the first food on the planet, basically birthed by immaculate conception. Like when the sunlight penetrates the seawater, the combination of the sunlight and the seawater basically makes these plants pop out of nothing. And inside those plants is, the original form of vitamin C, all the B vitamins, magnesium, selenium, micronutrients, antioxidants, carotenoids. And this small plant feeds, some whales that, live the size of a school bus to be 100 years old. They also, the krill eat those. And then, a lot of animals eat the krill. And so all these omega-3s, all original source of these omega-3s that right now they're currently taking from krill are like, they come from phytoplankton. So, and that's kind of, I still find it ironic that a lot of people, like, they might have heard about phytoplankton in biology class or something like that, but like, it is literally the foundational nutrient of the planet. It's Mother Nature's multivitamin. And and I just said I saw the transformative power of it, witnessed it myself. And so it's been a lifelong mission I just had my 20-year anniversary on July 5th. And we're still getting the word out because it can help people.
That's a great point, David. And it's incredible to think that these tiny organisms, while invisible to most of us, play such a huge role in sustaining life, not just in the ocean, but on land as well. And the importance really underscores how interconnected our survival is with the health of the oceans, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's like a lot of, you don't really hear about like, and again, I don't know how accurate it is, but I'm sure there's a lot of truth to it. They said, like the ocean, like you don't really see unless there's like an oil spill or something like that. You don't hear about a cancer epidemic in the ocean, like with whales, like, or fish, right? Like, like it seems to me that it's very balanced. It's this thing that, of course, is very deep, and it's, I don't know how to breathe underwater by any means. But like when you look underneath the ocean and the beautiful colors and the life, I mean, it's a whole other world. It's like an ecosystem, and that this life is nourished somehow, and it seems to be very balanced. And and it's just pumping out oxygen. They call like the phytoplankton the lungs of the planet. Yeah, so obviously, like with this health that is in the ocean, I mean, a lot of people, I don't think, if they think about eating fish or seaweed or anything like that, they don't look at that as unhealthy, you know? Uh, and I just find it's amazing, like even things like coral and, um, jellyfish and all this stuff, like how it's just such a different, such a different world under the ocean, and phytoplankton
Absolutely.
supports the whole thing.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and that's remarkable indeed.
Yeah. So then, I think like what we've realized since we've been giving phytoplankton as a human and pet nutrient is that nutrition is universal. And so the vitamin C that's in the ocean is the same vitamin C that our bodies want. And so because the phytoplankton is so microscopic, I think the other thing that's just so beautiful about it is that, as a human, we are just built up of a multitude of cells. We're basically we're a collection of a lot of little things, and these little things are moving around our body, and you're basically moving and transmuting it all the time. And these cells all have an engine in them called the mitochondria, which is the engine of the cell. And what we believe is that the phytoplankton, because it's so small and it doesn't really even need to be digested, it's the perfect food for the mitochondria of the cell. Because when people are taking phytoplankton, they're having absolutely huge transformative healings. And so the theory is that the root cause of a lot of the sickness in the world is malnourishment, or people just not getting these essential building blocks of life, which could be, amino acids and, potassiums and magnesiums and vitamin Bs and antioxidants and all this stuff. And if you don't get it, and you're malnourished, it would be like if you were trying to fix a car and you didn't have the tools. Even if you were the best mechanic in the whole wide world, if your toolbox was half empty, you're not going to be a very good mechanic. You're going to be very limited in the jobs that you can do. And I think our bodies are the same. And then so if we are, missing these essential tools in order to do the job, which is live life, like have a quality of life and move around and do things that we do, then after a certain period of time, we can't expect our body to, pull things out of thin air all the time. Like sooner or later, something has to happen, there's always the joke. I don't know if you have that in India too, but if you don't have the proper tool to do the job, you just use duct tape, right? I don't know if and you just patch it up, right? And I think that that's what happens. But then when that is happening inside us, well, that could be experiencing pain. It could be experiencing stomach issues, or you're getting rashes, or trouble sleeping, or low energy. It could be that duct tape could be something like your body could be whatever it is that you're probably the most lacking in. And but when your body receives what it's missing, it's like filling up that toolbox. Now the body can actually go to work, because I really believe that the body loves us. Like there's an element of love in the world. And, and I kind of, that my kind of case in that, not only, like when we, have loved ones and stuff like this, but say if you accidentally cut yourself chopping a vegetable or something like that. Well, what happens is the body immediately goes and tries to heal itself. It tries to stop the bleeding. And maybe you have to assist it by giving it a Band-Aid or something like that. But for the most part, and I'm not talking a gash with that you need 20 stitches, but if you just cut yourself a little bit, the body heals itself. The body wants to survive. So, I just so I don't think but if the body is not, if you don't give the body what it needs, maybe through bad diet, or you don't know about the nutrition, and you can only have so much fast food. before your body's just like, the toolbox is empty and you just feel like crap. And, you're just going, why do I feel like this? And then all of a sudden, you might go to, some people might go the doctor route and, get a prescription or something like that. But maybe they're going to the doctor getting a prescription, but all they're missing is magnesium, or they're missing, their B vitamins or something like that, or they could even be dehydrated, it could even be something like that, but the root cause is something different. So, but then, or you try the other way, which is supplementation. So maybe you go to the store and you go get some vitamin C capsules, or you get a multivitamin, $14 multivitamin. A lot of the multivitamins got sugar in them and they look like a cartoon character. Well, so the quality of some of these things, and I don't want to sit here and be knocking supplements, but like, because I'm in the industry, but for the most part, there is a lot of circumspect to the quality of that, or you're just guessing. And even if you say got the best magnesium in the world, is that what you really need? You don't know. So where phytoplankton is different is that it has a little bit of everything. When we break it apart, like it literally has everything. If you name it, it's in phytoplankton in some sort of capacity. And it might be like a microdosing, but it's still there. And, there's a lot of evidence that microdosing through homeopathy is very effective sometimes, because sometimes it's just about what they call a cell signal. Like the cells just need something to just kind of waken up and be complete. And, because like, for an example, if you have a $300,000 Ferrari, and if you just take the air out of one tire, the car is going to run very bad, but there's maybe 5,000 parts to that Ferrari, right? But like, if you take one thing out of there, that car is not going to run very good, right? Well, now what if you take 15 things out of it, right? And I think we're similar to that. And I think that that's where phytoplankton is going to play a big role in it. Well, I know it's playing a big role because I see the healings that are taking place. I mean, people are having absolutely massive recoveries from things that you would deem impossible. But it makes a lot of sense, because now, probably for the first time in their life, they're getting fully nourished with the first food on the planet. It's the base nutrient. And so to me, it just makes sense. And again, and it makes sense to me because I see it all the time with the customers, because they come back and tell me miraculous stories of healings, including myself. I took phytoplankton and I healed from candida. I healed from migraine headaches. I healed from allergies, chronic fatigue, sleeping better, and, and I've witnessed it. I witnessed it with hundreds of other people, and it's pretty amazing. And I think, like, once the word gets out, we might have a human health transformation.
Absolutely, yes. That's a fair example, and that's going to surely be beneficial for all our listeners out there, David. Now, now, as we enter this, so from a health perspective, what makes phytoplankton unique compared to other nutritional sources?
Well, I think, number one, it is the base food on the planet. It is the foundation of nutrition. There's no other plant life on the world that has that title. That is absolutely immovable. And also too is that, it is in the ocean, and it's very comprehensive. It's a very complete nutrient. Like I said, when you break it apart, if you named an omega, a carotenoid, a bioflavonoid, it's in there, a little bit. And that makes it a little bit different. And I think also too is what makes it different is that now not only does it have these characteristics, and it was the chosen nutrient to be the foundation of the food chain, but it's also microscopic. So it can go into the cells. So, and again, I always tell people too, they might put me in a box and they go, well, why is this phytoplankton better than blue-green algae or spirulina and chlorella? I kind of get put into that box sometimes. And I just tell them, I go, listen, if spirulina and chlorella or blue-green algae got the same results than the phytoplankton, I wouldn't be doing this. I would just tell people to go get spirulina and chlorella and blue-green algae because it's cheaper, right? I would be taking it, right? Because then it would be done. The problems would already be solved, but they're not solved. As far as I'm concerned, it looks to me like things are going backwards, right? So you just have to look at it, and my customers don't go backwards. They improve their quality of life. And so, again, you can dissect the minutiae. And again, and I'll even just say this because sometimes I get challenged a lot, and they'll go, "Well, I looked at your detailed analysis, and your calcium and magnesium uh, ratios are off." And I'm like, "They're off?" "Well, yeah, like there's supposed to be more calcium in the magnesium, right?" I'm like, "Well, maybe, but who's to say that you're right? Because I didn't formulate this plant. This is the first plant on the planet. Like, who are you arguing with me? Are you arguing with me or are you arguing with God? Like it's like, how do you know for sure? I mean, and I'm not knocking everything, but I'm just curious and I'm just going, how many patients have you cured from fibromyalgia in the last year? Like flat out cured. I'm not even a doctor, right? Half of my customers or more like take it with fibromyalgia and they're like all their pain goes away in a month. Who's to say that you're right? Or here's the other thing too, is that say anemia is the lack of iron. Well, iron pills have been around forever. Well, how come anemia still exists? You should just give people an iron pill and anemia should have been cured 40 years ago. But sometimes it's not about the person not getting the iron in the body. It's actually they're missing the nutrients that attach itself. There's kind of like the chauffeur into the cell, that it's missing another nutrient in order to get into the cell. So the iron is actually present, but it's just not absorbing it. So a lot of people who take the phytoplankton, they don't have anemia anymore because they were probably just missing a micronutrient to help escort the iron into the cell. And so that to me is just another example. And sometimes if it's working, do we even really need to know? I remember I had a really well-known pharmacist in Canada say to me, he goes, "Dave, you know what? I go into my car and I put my car into drive because I have an automatic transmission. I don't know how it works, but it works, you know?" And he goes, "Sometimes you don't need to know, right?" And I'm not trying to discount knowledge and stuff like this, but, hey, like, whether you believe in God or, whatever you believe in, at the end of the day, the sky is blue, the sun is shining, plants grow out of the ground, the snow goes on the mountains and flows into the rivers. We were once an egg and a sperm, and we grew inside our mother's belly. We don't know everything, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to pretend that I do, but all as I know is that phytoplankton is the first food and the foundation of the food chain. And to me, if you're malnourished or experiencing a health issue, also based on results, it's the most logical thing to start with is the foundation, because you build anything in life, you need a good foundation. So why not start with the foundation that, is naturally the foundation, which is phytoplankton.
That was an excellent explanation, David. And you really highlighted, how phytoplankton's nutrition density and diversity set it apart. Like the way you connected that to real health benefits makes it so clear why they are such a powerful addition to our diets. And again, that was an excellent explanation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I really want to people are hearing me about on the podcast and all the stuff and I'm talking about these healings, but this is I've been working on this for 20 years, nonstop. I've dedicated my life to this. We have a track record and a history, and it's well documented on the internet if people want to explore it and all this stuff. Cause if any of your listeners are having trouble with energy or sleep, or they have a skin issue, or they're in pain from fibromyalgia, Crohn's and colitis, or their digestive system isn't working, or they suffer with headaches or allergies, I'm telling you, I don't need the $20 that bad. Just give it a try. It's the foundation of the food chain. The track history is there. That's one thing that I've built. A foundation is a track history. And we have a empty bottle money back guarantee, because over the course of all the years that I've been selling it to hundreds of thousands of people, we have a 0.81% return rate on a $90 product. People just don't, they'll return it if it's $90 and it don't work. I'll tell you that. And the other thing is too, is that because you do some high level accounting, our accountants at Deloitte, which is the top 5 accounting firm, said that they had never seen such high repeat business in the supplement industry ever. They couldn't believe how many people keep coming back for it again and again, even though it's a little bit high end. And and that's because it transforms people's life. And then if they throw, a lot of people have a cupboard full of vitamins and everything, because really what you're just trying to do is just trying to emulate phytoplankton, making your own concoction, hoping that it's going to work. And, maybe they can get rid of a few things too. So then, they, maybe instead of a lot of people spend $60, $70 just, rolling the dice and, oh, gee, I hope this B12 that I got from Walmart works. Right. Because they think they need it. Because you don't usually, sometimes you're buying supplements because you want to prevent, but sometimes you're also trying to fix something. Right. And so then you can also save a little bit of money over time too, because then you find something that works. Now you have a foundation and then you can just kind of add to it. Right. So anyway, but it's just, yeah, I would just really encourage if people are listening, just to take a look at it. And because it's transformed a lot of people's lives. Like, again, if the root cause of a sickness, and I'm talking to a listener now, if the root cause of your sickness is that you are malnourished in something, phytoplankton is the first food. It's the base nutrient on the planet. It's got a little bit of everything. Best place to start, And if you really want to get something better for your life, I don't think you're going to expect something for $14 to be the big magic bullet. And phytoplankton, it's just, again, I didn't create it. I just got into the situation where I was like, wow, like the base nutrient on the planet was completely overlooked by the whole nutritional industry. Pretty, I still don't get it. Why am I the guy talking about it? I wanted to, I had a bottled water company, but hey, whatever. If that's my lot in life, I'll accept it. I've been doing it for 20 years and I have probably one of the best jobs ever because, most of my customers call us back and tell me about a miraculous story of healing that, most people would deem impossible. And for us, it's just another day at the office. Nobody in my office is even surprised anymore.
Yes. Now that feels like the essence of a message, David. Like wellness as a partnership with nature, not conquest over it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, I think that, well, I guess if, listen to a podcast like this, people are interested in natural health, right? And, and yeah, and that's the thing is like, yeah, like if we're going to have a relationship with nature, then why not have it with a nutritional relationship with the nutrient that God chose to basically support the entire ocean. And then also too, the birds eat the fish in the ocean, and then it's like so it's also nourishing the other animals as well and giving us the oxygen. And the other thing too, I'll just say quickly, even if you don't want to try it for yourself, like the amount of amazing recoveries we've seen with dogs and cats is absolutely amazing as well, and so heartwarming, especially if somebody has like a senior dog. It seems like dogs after they get about 11 or 12, like their back hips really start to go. It just seems to be this thing with dogs, and then they get really slow. And then we've had so many senior dogs take phytoplankton, and like literally within a week they're running around. It's amazing.
Yes.
So just even if you don't want to do it for yourself, you know what I mean? If you've got a senior dog, give it to your dog. Watch them start running around in 2 weeks and then go, that could be you. Because dogs, they don't have placebo, right? It's not like the dog's going, oh, I'm taking phytoplankton, like, we're getting better. That to me is like living proof, the epitome of that is when an animal doesn't even know, right?
That's remarkable, yes. That was really an illuminating journey with you, David, revealing that healing doesn't always lie in the complex, but often in the elemental. Phytoplankton, unseen by the eye, carries the power to sustain our planet and renew our bodies. So, listeners, let this conversation remind us that in caring for the smallest life forms, we discover vast possibilities for our own. So, take a step today toward honoring both your health and the earth and watch your horizons expand.